fans, Big Al here on this election night. It is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, and welcome to the Week 11 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game this week. Breaking down the schedule, we have two games that are underway right now as we speak. We'll talk about those two games. We have two games on Wednesday, two games on Thursday, 5 more on Friday, and then you have the full schedule on Saturday. So let's not waste no time and jump right into the Week 11 college football television schedule. This information is courtesy of 506 Sports. You want to see the schedule, go to www.506sports.com, click college football, and it'll take you right to it. Or if it doesn't, you can just click Week 11 and it'll take you right to it. Alright, so there are two games in progress right now. The first game began at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN2, and that game is currently playing. It's Bowling Green at Central Michigan with Clay Matvick and Steve Addazio. And just getting underway on ESPN as of 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific is Miami of Ohio at Ball State with Matt Schumacher and Dustin Fox. Then you'll have two more games tomorrow, November 6th, both at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. ESPN2 will have Northern Illinois at Western Michigan with Lowell Galindo and Fozzie Whitaker. And on ESPNU, they will have Ohio at Kent State with Mike Corey and Craig Halbert. Then on Thursday night, November 7th, both at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, ESPN has Appalachian State at Coastal Carolina with Matt Berry and Dan Mullen. ESPN2 has Florida Atlantic at East Carolina with Taylor Zarzour and Matt Stinchcomb. And then on Friday, you'll have five games, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on ESPNU. Dartmouth at Princeton, Eric Freedy and Jack Ford. At 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the ACC network, you've got California at Wake Forest, George Sedano and Orlando Franklin. On Fox, it's Iowa at UCLA, and that's at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, with Connor Onion and Mark Helfrich. At the same time on ESPN2, you'll have Rice at Memphis with Beth Mowins and Andre Ware. And on FS1 at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific, it's New Mexico at San Diego State with Dan Hellie and Petros Papadakis. That brings us to Saturday. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just 8 games starting at 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. ABC has Florida at Texas with Joe Tessitore and Jesse Palmer. On Fox's Big Noon Saturday, it's Purdue at Ohio State with Gus Johnson and Joel Klatt. On NBC, it's Minnesota at Rutgers with Jack Collinsworth and Michael Robinson. ESPN has Miami at Georgia Tech with Bob Wischusen and Louis Riddick. On ESPN2, it's Navy at South Florida, Roy Philpott and Sam Acho. FS1 has West Virginia at Cincinnati, Chris Myers and Robert Smith. ESPNU has Texas State at Louisiana Monroe, Jason Ross Jr. and Teoka Jackson. And on the CW, it's Syracuse at Boston College with Tom Brenneman and Max Brown. At 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network, you'll have Liberty at Middle Tennessee, Jordan Kent and Logan Ryan. Streaming on ESPN Plus at 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific is Connecticut at UAB, James Wessling and Legard Dzable. Also streaming on ESPN Plus at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific is Marshall at Southern Miss, and there is no broadcast team announced for that game. On to the late afternoon portion of the schedule. You'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 games starting at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, 12:30 p.m. Pacific. ABC has Georgia at Ole Miss with Sean McDonough and Greg McElroy. On the Home Depot Big Ten on CBS, it's Michigan at Indiana, Brad Nessler and Gary Danielson. On ESPN, Clemson at Virginia Tech, Mark Jones and Roddy Jones. ESPN2 has Army at North Texas, Mike Monaco and Kirk Morrison. FS1 will have Iowa State at Kansas, Guy Haberman and Yogi Roth. On the CW, San Jose State at Oregon State, J.B. Long and Michael Bumpus. On the ACC network, it's Duke at NC State, Chris Cotter and Mark Herzlich. And streaming on ESPN Plus is Georgia State at James Madison. There is no broadcast team announced for that game. You'll have 3 more games starting at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. On Fox, it's Colorado at Texas Tech with Jason Benetti and Brock Heward. On ESPNU is Temple at Tulane with Courtney Lyle and Renee Eagle-Gila. Streaming on ESPN Plus is Kennesaw State at UTEP, and there is no broadcast team announced for that game. At 4:15 p.m. Eastern, 1:15 p.m. Pacific on the SEC network is South Carolina at Vanderbilt, Dave Neal and Aaron Murray. At 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific on CS Sports Network, Jacksonville State at Louisiana Tech, Chris Lewis and Randy Cross. Streaming on ESPN Plus at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific is Arkansas State at Louisiana. And streaming on ESPN Plus at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific is Western Kentucky at New Mexico State. There are no broadcast teams announced for those 2 games. Okay. You'll have 3 games at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific as we jump to the evening portion of the schedule. On ESPN, it's Mississippi State at Tennessee with Dave Pasch and Dusty Dvorak. FS1 has Oklahoma State at TCU, Eric Collins and Spencer Tillman. On BTN, it's Maryland at Oregon with Jeff Levering and Jake Butt. And then you'll have 3 more games at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. On ABC's Saturday Night Football, you've got Alabama at LSU and Kirk Herbstreit. NBC will have Notre Dame football as the Fighting Irish host the Florida State Seminoles with Noah Eagle and Todd Blackledge. And on ESPN2, it's UCF at Arizona State with Brian Custer and Rod Gilmore. At 7:45 p.m. Eastern, 4:45 p.m. Pacific on the SEC network, you have Oklahoma at Missouri with Tom Hart and Jordan Rogers. And then you'll have 3 more games at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. On Fox, it's Nevada at Boise State. There is no broadcast team announced for that game. On the ACC network, it's Virginia at Pittsburgh, Wes Durham and Tom Luginbill. And streaming on Peacock is Big Ten Saturday Night with Washington visiting Penn State, Paul Burmeister and Colt McCoy. At 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Network, it's UNLV at Hawaii with Rich Waltz and Ross Tucker. Then at 9:45 p.m. Eastern, 6:45 p.m. Pacific on FS1, Fresno State at Air Force, Chris Volsters and Charles Arbuckle. Then you'll have a pair of games at 10:15 p.m. Eastern, 7:15 p.m. Pacific. ESPN has BYU at Utah with Dave Fleming and Brock Osweiler. ESPN2 will have UC Davis at Montana with Jay Alter and Rocky Boyman. And the final game of the night is at 10:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 p.m. Pacific on the CW. Utah State at Washington State with Ted Robinson and Ryan Leaf. And that is a look at your Week 11 college football television schedule and the announcers for every game this week. The college football playoff rankings were released about 45 minutes ago, and I will have the entire rankings tomorrow. I'll go live probably at around 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, so make sure you join me then. Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, ring the bell, and get notified every time I go live. Big Al signing off. Thanks for watching, and enjoy the pigskin. Peace out.